Hi everyone, this is the add-on tutorial showing you how to change colours on the Sip the Seasons coaster. I'm going to use this colourway as an example in this tutorial. So as you can see, rounds 1 and 2 there is a colour change here, and between rows 2 and 3 we also have another colour change. So let's get straight into it. Here are our colours. Of course you can pick any that you like, and I have already started the first row here with our 8 single crochet. So make sure that magic ring thread is out of the way. So as we would normally do in the pattern, we're going to slip stitch into this first single crochet here, and then we're going to fasten off. So going under both loops, going under both loops here, grab the yarn, pull through, and then pull straight through this one again. Okay, now you might notice this little section here, but we're going to ignore this, and if it helps you can put a stitch marker in this full single crochet here or this one here, but we are essentially eradicating that middle section. So we have a single crochet there and a single crochet there, and you should still have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we've done that slip stitch, and then we're going to fasten off, and there are several different ways that you can do this, so feel free to go and watch another tutorial if you don't like my way. I just yarn over and pull through like that. Then I grab some scissors and I just snip the yarn and leave enough to sew an end in. I use my crochet hook and just pull that through like that. And then I pull this really tightly like that. Okay, so you will have this dangling off, but we're going to ignore it for a minute and just leave that for a second and grab your second colour, which will be the white. So normally when we join a colour to a round, we make a slip knot. But because we are going in and working a puff stitch that needs some height in the first place, we're not going to do this. You could chain 3 at the start, but I tried this when I was designing this and it was just quite a thick chained start and kind of took away from the design. So instead we're going to pick a single crochet, whichever one that you want. I personally prefer to stay away from the ones that I've just fastened off near, so I'll just go for this one here for example, and then we're just going to hook this over like that. Ooh. And then pull it through and pull it up just enough for a height of a puff stitch. The shorter yarn end just tuck behind and hold with your hands, and then you're looking like this, and then you can go straight in to the puff stitch as per the pattern. Chain 2. Okay, then on the back you'll have a little tail here, which you can then fasten off if you want to and weave in and hide away once you've done the rest of the puff stitches. Okay, so then you work 7 more puff stitches as per the original pattern, and then I'll meet you back once you've done that and I'll show you how to fasten off this white section and add the green. So I've worked my 8 puff stitches and we've done the chain 2, and then as per the pattern we are single crocheting into the top of the puff stitch like that, and then we're going to fasten off as we did before. So just yarn over and pull through, cut off, pull that through, and then pull it tight. Now you're starting to get a lot of yarn ends at the back that will need weaving in. Don't worry too much about those. And then again, now we're moving to the green. We're just working the same pattern again, you know, double crochets, chain one, double crochet. And this time we will be using the green, and we will need to do a slip knot because we're not doing a puff stitch. We don't need height on it. We need to start with a chain. If you know already how to do a slip knot, please go ahead and do it. I do mine like this, which despite me trying many times, I cannot seem to explain it very well. So I'm going to do one in a way I can explain, at least, you know, with my hands. So have the palm of your hand facing up, grab the yarn tail with your thumb and finger like that, turn it round, and I'm just going to use these two fingers, go over, under, over, so you've got a little X like so. Grab your yarn hook. I like to have it facing down for this. Go under the first one here and grab this yarn here and pull, and you can turn it a little bit if you want. Then what you're going to do is you're going to pull your yarn hook up this way, and you're going to hold on to this little end and pull it in the opposite direction. Okay, so wriggle it off, wriggle the whole thing off your fingers, ta-da, and then pull your yarn hook this way and the small bit of yarn the other way, like so. And you have a slip knot. Grab your coaster back. Like I said, I tried to avoid where I fastened off just for the minute because it's not as fun to work in. And I'm going to start in the top of a puff stitch. So I'm just going to pick this one and put my hook through. And then I'm going to grab my slip knot, pop it onto the end, and then I will tighten this one up by pulling on the working yarn. And then you pull it through like that. And then as per the pattern, chain 3, that counts as your double crochet and your chain 1 space. And then you can go ahead and carry on with the pattern. Like so. And you're using that final colour for rows 3, 4 and 5. So no more colour changes are needed. And then just don't forget to weave in your ends, tuck them behind other white areas, and make sure your magic ring is secure. And that's the colour changes done. Thanks so much for joining me. Let me know if you have any questions on these colour changes, or if you're interested in any of the colours that I've used, I can dig those out as well. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.